Very excited about the film. As you guys know, it's coming out Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. And this has really been a labor of love for myself and for Ben and for so many people who worked on this project, our enormously gifted crew, starting with Mike Schaap, our editor and producer, Mike Balaka, our director of photography, Tommy Bartlett, our cameraman, Fernando Calderon, our AP, who is here, Gentry Kirby, who produced this, Mark Charty, who helped produce this, the entire team of 30 for 30, great notes. John Dahl was essential to this process, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some people to mention, but it really was an incredible team effort, and you know, as is typically the case when you work on camera, you get much more credit than you deserve if you happen to like it. And Ben has been tireless making this happen, and none of it was possible without the extraordinary cooperation and generosity of Mr. Douglas, who trusted us enough to tell his story and to take a deep dive in a story that we feel really deserved it and had not received this kind of treatment before. And you know, for us, this is just such a rich story. It culminates in this spectacular fight on February 11th, 1990 in Tokyo, but it's about much more than the fight. It's about Buster Douglas's story, about growing up in a boxing family with a fighter for a father, a tough fighter, a guy with a huge reputation in the game, and their relationship and the decisions, the hard decisions at times they had to make about that personal and professional relationship. And then, of course, just 23 days before the fight, Buster's mother, Lula Pearl, passed away at the age of 46. At that moment in time, people thought maybe Buster shouldn't even go to Tokyo. He shouldn't take this fight. How can he possibly perform at his best in this emotional state while he's mourning his mother, who was his rock? And of course, instead he goes there and he fashions the greatest upset in the history of sports against someone who at the time was considered all but invincible. And you know, that's the story basically. We don't have microphones up here, but you know, I just wanted to ask Buster first of all, you know, for you, 28 years later, and last night we showed Buster the film for the first time. He hadn't seen it until last night. I was sitting with him in a bar at a hotel here in New York, watching him see his life in front of him. And for you, you know, having this now on film, Buster, what does it mean to you to have this story?
It means a great deal because it was a family event. You know, it wasn't just me in there, it was my family. It was the history of the Douglas family. It meant a lot, you know, put a lot into this, and I'm just happy that I had the opportunity to put my trust in these two gentlemen's hands and bring it to life.
Thank you, Buster. Woo! But you did do all the work. You should get to say a few words.
I didn't do all the work. He always deflects. Jeremy's the best.
You're too humble, Ben.
Hey, I wanted to just mention a couple other people. Rob King, Libby Geist, John Dahl, who we mentioned, Aaron Leiden, Gentry. These are the people at ESPN Films that bring these stories. ESPN is this amazing support for storytelling. Jeremy and I get to do it on E60. We work together all the time on that. We'll be doing that again next year. This has been a ton of fun. We have just a great group of people. Jennifer Thorpe, I think, is in this room. All right. She has done an amazing job. She's been a huge support for us. Matt Fisher was an archival producer for us. He can't be here today, but I have to mention him. Eve Wolf, who's checking people in, instrumental. A couple folks that aren't here, Brian Distillo and Vin D'Antone, who aren't here, but they deserve recognition. And lastly, my wife, Christina. And there's two little daughters, little girls of mine that run around. She took still photography for this, and she always supports me and lets me work these crazy hours. So, gotta mention that. And lastly, Buster, thank you for everything you did for us. Very good. Thank you. Sharing your story.
Thank you, Buster. Thank you guys for being here. We hope you watch and enjoy, and we appreciate your interest in the project. And the bar's open.
By the way, last thing, after the documentary ends on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, They're actually playing the full Tyson Douglas fight
Wow.
directly after the documentary.
Wow.
So if you watch the full story on ESPN, the fight comes on right after it, so you can experience everything.
Great job.
You know the outcome, but
Somebody made a great decision. Thank you.